Hey everyone, just finished watching Thomas Frank's presser ahead of the Super Cup tomorrow. Normal stuff that comes out of that don't really tell you anything. You know, lots of platitudes about the other team and so on, and we're ready and all that kind of stuff, and wouldn't be pressed on incomings or outcomings or any of that sort of stuff. Pretty basic presser. However, it was interesting to note that Bissouma has been left behind, and when asked about it, he was actually quite open about it, that Bissouma has been left behind for disciplinary reasons, namely that he is continually late. Several times he's been late, and the last time was basically the last chance. And as Thomas Frank said, that players need love, but also they need structure and consequences. And this is something that will be kind of dealt with when he's back after the Super Cup, you know, where he's got a chance to kind of think about it and where he goes from there. Because journalists asked, you know, what does Bissouma have to do to reconcile? I just think it's a real interesting scenario, isn't it? Because it's not something you hear about a lot in terms of professional footballers these days getting into trouble for disciplinary issues. Normally that's quite kind of behind closed doors, don't tend to hear too much about it. But clearly Bissouma has gone far too far here. It does make you think, don't understand how someone of that kind of standing can end up being late for work each day. Like, you know, it's not like they've got to get the underground and get through all the traffic and all that sort of stuff. I'm sure they don't start mega early in the morning or whatever, and you know, they get a fair amount of free time as well. So it does beg the question, what's going on there? I just wonder whether Bissouma can see the writing on the wall with the kind of transfer kind of rumours and stuff going around Eze and Morgan Gibbs-White and so on and so forth. I'm wondering if he can see the writing on the wall that maybe he's falling out of favour. And to be honest with you, quite rightly so, he's not really been the player that we expected to have. You know, he's not the Bissouma from Brighton, is he? He's been a bit of a liability, a fair bit. And that doesn't help his case to a certain extent. You would think, however, with a brand new manager coming in, now's the time to really show what you've got and kind of put your place in the squad and make yourself a first team starter. Clearly got the wrong attitude for that kind of thing, and now he's going to pay the consequences for it. It seems that Thomas Frank is not just a nice guy that he comes across. I mean, he comes across very much as a, you know, calming, you know, forthright, friendly sort of nature. But clearly his no dickhead policy is a real thing. He's not prepared to put up with it. He's not prepared to put up with that sort of attitude from his players, and it does send a clear message to the rest of the squad that's not going to fly. And I think it's the right thing to do. So really interesting thing to kind of come out of that. Not something I wasn't really expecting, to be honest. Like I say, most of the talk was the general chit chat about, you know, having a plan for the game, being ready for it, how good PSG are, and so on and so forth. Dom Solanke is in contention to play, which means he's got to play because, you know, Richarlison just isn't doing it. Desti Udogie is coming back. He's close to training with the group, is what he actually said. So not maybe close to starting, but close to getting back to normal training, which would then put him in contention at some point. So yeah, interesting from that point of view to hear that. He was asked as well about Kinski, because there's rumours about Kinski moving on, and and he was quite clear that he sees him a big future for him, and that he sees him as a Tottenham player. But he doesn't, normally give too much away in terms of talking about other teams' players and incomings and outgoings and stuff like that. He said he wouldn't talk about that anyway. So we won't really know. But like you said, we had 4 goalkeepers used last season, and so he's expecting to have to use at least 3 of them this season. So if Kinski were to go, I think we would have to have someone else come in and take that place. So yeah, interesting. And the final thing he was talking about was that his captain will be named tomorrow to the squad. So I guess we'll all find out tomorrow who the captain is and who that's going to be going forward. So be interesting if it's Ben Davies, won't it? Jesus, there will be a meltdown for sure. Anyway, big news is Bissouma, disciplinary problem. That's got to mean that he is one of the players likely to go, one of the ones that's on a lot of people's lists to kind of move on. So I suspect that will be the case, and maybe his attitude is part of the reason why that's kind of edging along. Maybe there's discussions going on in the background, and that he's looking to kind of escalate it. Maybe we seem to see a little bit of that, don't we, with the Isaac situation at Newcastle. Maybe he's trying to do something similar. Personally, I won't be sad to see the back of him. I think he's been a poor player for us. He's never been the player that we expected to have. So really disappointing from that point of view. But it is what it is. Tomorrow, Super Cup, an opportunity to win a trophy before the season's even started. Big opportunity. So we'll be interesting to see how Frank approaches that, because this will be a big opportunity for him as well, having never played in Europe and never been able to compete at that sort of level. Is this where his tactical awareness and his ability to change things within games and all that kind of stuff, is that where it's gonna lead to? Is that what he's gonna do that's gonna bring that home? I did a predictions video with some of my South Dorset Spurs friends, and a bit of a mixed reaction from those guys. If you haven't seen that, there is a video to watch. Let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think we will come away victorious, or are we going to get an absolute stuffing? Hard one. I know what your head's saying, but it's what's in your heart that matters, isn't it? Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. Up the Spurs.